Well, the match at the MCG between Hawthorn and St Kilda, both Don Scott and Dennis Cometti were there. You can toss the coin. Away you go.
Way you go, Don.
Well, thank you, Dennis. I'd like to get a word in, but it was very reminiscent. Somebody said that these two teams hadn't met there since 1971. If you go back to 1971, it was a typical St Kilda clash of those days, a tough encounter, and yesterday's was no exception at the MCG. The grand final in 71, and there were a lot of incidents behind play, and yesterday's game was just the same. Hawthorn blitzed the opposition when they started off in that first quarter, but then players, Dennis, seemed to go missing, didn't they?
Yes, well, I think Hawthorn won like a good side. When you look at Hawthorn, I mean, it happens so often in games like this where it's up for grabs and suddenly the good side prevails and comes through. St Kilda will look back to the third quarter. They had their chances to win the game. Lockett, it's strange. I mean, he kicked his 9 goals, and yet he was the man who could have sewn it up in the third quarter. And Kenny Sheldon, I think, would like to play the last quarter again.
Well, I think that's an interesting thing you made, observation about Sheldon, because in really tight games, crucial mistakes really do count, and Sheldon made 2 of them where he could have hugged the ball to his chest, it spilled over the pack, Brereton kicked, and then he was conned into playing on, I believe, by Brereton, and another guy resulted.
Yep. Scotty, losing Frawley at that final stage, did that make the difference?
Well, it could have swung the game. It might have been the old Collingwood trick of decking someone behind play. Well, it was their go years ago when you were still an infant. It's gone out of the game now, but it did change the game around, and Collingwood, Hawthorn did go on with the game, but I thought there was some interesting moves. Elphingston on Dunstall, I thought was a very good move. Frawley on...
Don't look at me, you pinch my notes. I'm not helping you. I'm not helping you.
Use your notes for the votes. Don?
Well, I found it very hard to pick vote getters, but I had no hesitation in going for Lockett because he was playing on a 2-1 situation, missed a couple of vital goals in the third quarter. Greg Deere, a very solid performance all day, and Dean Rice on the wing for St Kilda.
Back in a moment to discuss the 2 other matches from yesterday.